So Jerry is going to be my co-host. I'll be the main speaker for this workshop, and he'll be the main speaker for the second one that's starting from 2 o'clock, which will be centered on conversations in class and how to use it online. I'll try to do our best doing that. I'm going to share my screen with you. Everybody can see this slide here? Yes. Okay. So this is me. I let you read. It's faster than. A quick tip now is that it's a good idea to introduce yourself to your students and try to make them feel the human being behind the screen. So this is one way to do it. Have a Google slide or a document or a little video or whatever. But the idea is that something you wouldn't need to do in normal times. Normally, I mean, personally, I'm not the friendly kind of teacher. You know, I don't try to be buddies with my students. But here, if I were to teach online, I would do an effort to show myself as a human being, because they are faced with lots of screens and written instructions. All right, so let's jump right into it. Some aspects of this might be too basic for many people, but I think it's better to be safe than sorry. The basic components you need to teach online, you need an LMS, Learning Management System, and probably your university has either Moodle, Manaba, Blackboard, probably. You need that because this is the easiest way to get in touch with your students. Normally, with modern LMS, when you log in as a teacher, you will have a list of your courses, and within each course, all the students will be registered already. So you are able to contact all of them, to post stuff, to share links. And so they are a bit clunky, those systems. Moodle is a very clunky system compared with modern things, but they are quite useful, I think, to get in touch with your students, and probably also to get your students to give you assignments. That's probably the easiest way. So if you have been ignoring those for the last 10 years, now is the time to use those training sessions your universities are offering, I guess. Second, a system to store your files online. I would recommend to use the Google Drive personally, because if you go and save everything on Moodle or on Manaba, for example, you can save a lot of content. You can create many things. They will be all sophisticated and everything, but they will be fixed in one class space somewhere, and then you will forget where they are, and you cannot improve on them. So in my opinion, this is not survival, but this is quite important to save your energy. Then you need a video conference system for those of you who are allowed to speak to your students. It can be Zoom, or it can be Google Meet, Teams. I think the 3 main ones are those. They are pretty similar, so we cannot get into too many technical details here. Basically, you will be probably told to use this or that system, and you'll have to learn how to use it. And if you cannot communicate live with your students, you need some kind of screencast system, some way to make little videos. For example, Screencastify, Screenomatic. There are lots and lots of solutions like that. And the fourth element you need is physical textbooks in your students' possession. So I'm not saying this only because I'm a publisher, and but I'm also saying this as a parent. I have my son is just downstairs having an online class as we speak, and it has been very challenging. And if he hadn't had any textbooks, it would have been completely impossible. So let's be aware of the danger of thinking online equals no textbooks. Textbooks are very, very precious, as they have always been. And you might have lots of students who have only a smartphone maybe, and then having a physical textbook in front of them on their table, on their bed, you know, they might be lying down as you speak to them, is a second window. So I think it's a good idea that teachers insist on their students to get the books, even if it's not that easy. And be careful to not let it slip, because maybe after 2 months or 1 month or 2 months, your students might think, you know, it's fine. I actually don't need so much that textbook, but I think they do. And if they don't have a textbook, it's going to be really hard. Synchronous or asynchronous. I think you're all familiar with the terminology now. Synchronous is like what we are doing now, same time, and asynchronous is like you're supposed to get materials online and your students are supposed to access them on their own time. It seems many universities are saying that it's not okay to do any live teaching because of some students not having Wi-Fi, for example. In my opinion, it's a bit extreme, because let's say out of 40 students, there are like 30 who can do it and 10 who cannot do it. It seems to me that the best the solution would be to do some live classes. It doesn't mean speaking for 90 minutes over Zoom. It means doing some live interaction, at least 10 minutes or whatever. And then find a plan B for the others who can't, because you need to engage your students in the course. It's not just because they are registered that they are going to follow your course. I think there is a huge danger of them dropping out. And no live teaching at all sounds like being asked to teach with your hands tied in your backs and you're blindfolded, it seems to me. Some universities also say that, okay, you cannot do live teaching and you have to make little videos, and the maximum weight of a given video is 20 mega. And now 20 mega is very, very small. It's like a few minutes. So there are websites that allow you to compress your videos after you make them, but still it's still very short. It's just a few minutes. So this is a big question. I think we will find little by little the way to combine both. And if you are forbidden to do any live teaching, then good luck to you. Okay, I'm going to stop this slideshow for the moment, and we will try the breakout rooms in Zoom. Okay, 53 participants. Right, good. If some of you are not familiar with the Zoom interface, you have in the upper right corner, you have a little icon in which you can modify the way you see the participants. So either you see one person quite big and then 4 people up, or if you click on that little icon on the top right corner, you will see a mosaic, and right now I can see 20 people on my screen. So breakout rooms. Breakout rooms, I did not know about this functionality until about 10 days ago, as most of us, I think. It's quite amazing that in just 2 minutes time, I'm going to break out this group, like to do pair work, basically. And it's possible at the click of a button. I believe that the main systems can all do that. and that the definite advantage of Zoom over the other two is that you can do it in an automatic way, which means that I don't need to pre-assign the participants to this or that room. In this case, for example, and this is not a class, I don't have your information. I would not have been able to do it with Teams or Meet, but I'm going to do it now. But I read that it worked fine with Microsoft Teams and with Google Meet as well. It works okay. It's just you need to have your students registered before, and before the class, you need to decide who is going to be with whom to do that setting. Of course, this is the context of you are able to do live teaching, and all your students have this possibility to take part in it. You know, it's not for everyone, but still, it's such a great option that let's just give it a try quite quickly. So I'm going to, you probably don't have this setting in your Zoom interface, but personally in the bottom menu, I have plus on the right side, and then I can divide into groups, this group. Now I get a screen. Sorry, I cannot show you my Zoom screen while I'm zooming. I don't know how to do that. I get a small window that offers me to assign 53 participants into 13 rooms, which means that there will be 4 to 5 participants per room. Sounds good to me. So I'm clicking on this, create conference rooms, breakout rooms in English. And I have a second window. Now I can see in room number 1, I can see the names of people who are going to go into that room. I would be able to move one person to another breakout room if I wanted to, but I'm just going to do that. Before doing that, a quick word. Two quick things is that as a teacher, I could go into certain rooms and make sure that everything is going well. But I'm not going to even try to do that this time because I would be able to do it for one group and maybe a second group, and that would be it. And it would require lots of mental energy on my part. I'm not sure this is feasible if you have a large group. You might just want to let your students speak between each other. Something is happening, some human interaction is happening. In my opinion, this is the main advantage of the breakout rooms, is that your students will be talking with each other. We want to introduce some human contact in the course, and this is one way we can do it. Especially in the case of first-year students who they've never been on campus, they've never met their teacher, they've never met their classmates. We need to make something human happen. That is, in my opinion, the first priority. And teaching a language is second. The second remark before putting you in those breakout rooms is that before you divide students into those rooms, you need to give them a very precise instruction on what to do. This is always true in Japan. You probably have noticed, but when you give a vague instruction to students, they tend to be paralyzed. The more detailed the instruction, the better it's going to be. And this is magnified by tenfold when you are online. So I've heard some colleagues saying that they went to breakout rooms and students were just waiting to be given a signal to start, for example, silent. So this is the ultimate instruction. At the end of your instruction about the task itself, you could add a sentence like, and then when you find yourself in the breakout room, start talking immediately. Everything that seems to be common sense, that would be obvious in real life, is not obvious anymore online. So try always to think that the person listening to you or half listening to you might have difficulties hearing you, might be in their pajamas, might be on their bed lying down, or whatever. Many circumstances. So if you think about saying something, I would suggest to detail it and even break it more, break it down as much as you can. So now the task I'm going to give you is, you'll be about 4 or 5 in a given room. Please just introduce yourself briefly, very briefly, and tell the others if you have started teaching already, and or if you haven't, when will you start teaching? And if there is some time left, it's going to be pretty short, maybe 2 or 3 minutes only. If you have some time left, you can pour your heart out and let all your anxiety in the open. All right, I'm clicking on the button.
It's a join breakout room. Yeah, I'm pressing that.
All right, you should press something, join you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Are we in a room now? Yeah. Hello?
No. I think if you are talking to me, you're not in a breakout.
Okay.
So you should find a button to click.
Where was that? That was
I don't know. I think you have a button.
Breakout. Join breakout room. Yes, got it.
All right. Anybody else has problem joining a breakout room?
I joined, but I still feel alone.
Who is talking now?
Becky Shigara.
All right.
Joined, but I don't see anything.
I think you didn't join, because if you can still talk to me, I'm still in the main room, so you probably haven't joined that breakout room.
Okay, maybe I joined it while I was going to my privacy to access the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I just joined the meeting.
All right.
Can you put me in a breakout room? I'm on an iPad. Does that make a difference?
No, I think it should be the same. But if you just joined the meeting just now, you might not have been.
Oh, maybe that's what happened. If I had to leave to turn on my privacy microphone, I had to leave the meeting and then come back in. So probably I'm joining the second time.
All right. Yes. I see a certain number of people on. All right. I'm going to put you in.
Okay. It says join.
Or can you put like me and?
Go ahead.
Oh.
Join if you can. If you see a button, join a breakout room, click on it, please. All right, so I see still a few people, maybe coming back little by little. Okay, I think people are starting to come back from the breakout rooms, I guess. Actually, I clicked on something to close all the breakout rooms, and now there is a countdown happening. Probably it's something that you can keep on or keep turn off the countdown. But in 8 seconds, everybody will be back probably. All right. All right. Normally everybody is back. So that was the very, very quick experience.
It was nice talking to people in a little room like that. It was nice.
Yeah, this is. I mean, if you can actually do something, that's all the better. But in my opinion, the biggest feature of this is that you just talk to other people instead of listening to the teacher talking and blah blah like I've been doing. Just for that reason, just for the human touch thing, I would try to use that function if I'm allowed.
Bruno, can I bring up a point?
Sure, please. Yes.
So one thing I noticed is that when the timer ended, there was a countdown.
Mm-hmm.
You had to wait like a minute
before
we came back into this main group, right? So that's a feature that teachers can control, right? Yeah. So I found I taught my first class yesterday on Zoom. I found that to be bothersome. It kind of messed my timing up. When I end a room, I want everyone back.
Yeah.
So what I did later after the class is I went in the settings and I got rid of that countdown. And I noticed that you can also adjust the length of it. You can be 1 minute or 30 seconds or 10 seconds. And I think the reason for it is it gives participants in the room a warning and a kind of let's wrap it up kind of thing instead of like being cut off. But as a teacher, I want to control the pace, so I found that maybe I'm going to try out without it. So I'll play around with that and see what works best.
That's what I would do as well. Yeah, turn that off. The first time it looks good, and then after, indeed, you want to have more to be able to do like in a real class.
Mm-hmm. You just give them a definitive time as to when you're finishing before you start.
Yep. That's you said it, and you'll say to students, when you do the breakout room, you have to specify how long it's for, and then students can see the timer and they can see how long they have and that kind of thing. So yeah, and you should let them know, okay, 2 minutes, please introduce yourselves, and if you finish before 2 minutes, do it again, and then it'll be done, and then you can come back, right? So
exactly. Yeah. Little by little, we learn all these sophisticated, functions, settings. I don't think it's possible to master everything beforehand. So I would say just try the big features, and they work. They work quite well. Actually, it's very surprising. Don't be too stressed because nobody's perfect. Everybody's learning. And maybe tell that to your students. I would recommend, like, hey, I just discovered this last week, so bear with me. And maybe if you can make a little joke when something, I once during the breakout room thing, I actually exited the meeting and I panicked, of course, and then I found my way back in, but all these kind of things will happen for sure. It's no big deal. In my opinion, it's the fact that some basic components are happening is the biggest thing. So now I'm going to share my screen again with you and just try to show you. Again, I'm not so super experienced, but I have done it once. How to do some screencasting. So share the screen. When you share the screen, be careful because in Zoom, you have to choose which window you are going to share. So this is a bit confusing. With Skype, I was used to sharing my Skype screen before, and then I would share a physical screen on my computer. So whatever was on the screen would be shared. But with Zoom, and I guess the other systems as well, you share a window. not a physical screen, like for example my browser or the preview window or whatever type of window. It's different. And then on top of that, in Zoom, you have to choose which window, and the default choice is a whiteboard. So in one of the sessions I did before, I was speaking for about 5 minutes before people tell me, and I was commenting my slides, you know, and before people tell me, I can see only white. It was the whiteboard. So be careful about that. So I'm going back to the screen. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yep.
Everybody can see it, okay? By the way, this is maybe a good reflex to have, to tell people what you are going to be doing and to check with them that this is really happening, like by, for example, moving the mouse. There are many options for screencasting, for making videos, but and a very easy one is called Screencastify. It's a Chrome plugin. I'm going to click on this one. I am not 100% sure you are going to be able to see. Can you see the Screencastify thing opening?
Pink box at the top.
Right. Yes. So if I push on this, I can just record what's going on in my screen. I can continue the slideshow, for example, and make a video of it. And I can embed my webcam. So I'm going to do just that. Done. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that because I need to go to my settings. I just updated my system, and now my computer is telling me that I have to allow this plugin to access my webcam. Sorry, but anyway, with just a click, I will be able to start recording my slideshow, and there would be a little window with my face and my voice. And what is pretty nice with the Screencastify is that it uploads the videos to the drive, to your drive, Google Drive. So you don't need to do that operation. And on top of that, you have one button that allows you to copy to your clipboard a shareable link, which means that the settings of that element you just uploaded to your drive have been changed, so that anybody can watch them. So it saved you two operations. One is to put the video somewhere, you know, to be able to share it later. And the second operation that was saved to you is the changing of settings. Because to be, how can I say, so that your students can see your video, you need to allow them in the sharing settings. So this one is the free version of this plugin is limited to 5 minutes. But maybe it's not a bad thing, because 5 minutes is already pretty long, you know. If you make a video of 15 minutes, it's probably too long in terms of how much attention you can keep over that amount of time. And on top of that, you will have problems with the weight of the video. As I said before, some universities are putting quite stringent limits on the weight of videos. All right, so I'm going to continue in my slideshow. Back to the basics. All right. Now is the time to use that function and tell you about it. There is some noise coming from somewhere, and I'm going to click on the Participants tab, and I will be able to mute everyone normally.
Oh, beautiful background.
Okay, I muted everyone. This is something that you should look up before. You click in the Participants tabs, and you will have a button to mute every mic, because this happens a lot. There is suddenly a noise coming from one of the participants' windows, and again, that's you, Jerry. Now I did it again. Damn. Probably someone unmuted their mic, and then I have to do it all over again, I guess. Anyway, this is one of the important functions. Find out is quite better. Let me go back to sharing my screen, and if you can please keep your mics muted. If you don't want to speak, that's going to be better. Okay, back to the basics. I think the biggest risk is that students give up on our courses. I've seen my own son who is at the French school in Kyoto. The French school has been closed for a month, and they started doing online teaching from the beginning. And at some point he was this close. I mean, he actually told us he wanted to stop the school, which is not an option. But it was that bad, really. And this is in the context of the French school year is starting in September. So it's already, we are in the middle of the school year, not at the beginning. He knows his classmates, teachers, he has the textbooks, everything. But still, it was very challenging. So how can we prevent that? I think you could read this already. Introduce yourself as a human being, make a little document at the minimum, and reference these documents everywhere when you correspond with your students in the first 3 weeks at least, because some people will have missed the first time probably. Make sure your students meet each other. That would be good. Please, someone stop drawing on my slideshow. It's fun, but it's distracting. Teach them a little something, but don't have big ambitions for teaching. Sorry, Paul, but if you could, this is quite distracting. Your finger, everybody can see your finger a lot, and sorry, thank you. Teach them a little something. So this is quite important. I'm going back to the story of my son. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, he had a mathematics class, and the teacher tried. There were twice one hour in the same day. The teacher tried to fill this 1 hour with exercises, with tasks. And the first task he gave the students, the kids, 11 years old, was an activity that was supposed to last 20 minutes. And my son didn't want, it was not okay. After the school finished, I helped him, and we completed the task. The task, I helped him to understand and to do the math and to write down the answers. And it took 1 hour. That was with my help. He was supposed to do it in 20 minutes without help, and he did it in 1 hour with my help. So this is to give you an idea of the kind of proportion of what's going on in your head. You know, if it was normal class, you would be able to do this and this and this and this and that. And but if it was a normal class, you would be able to immediately adjust. A lot of adjustments happen. You know, it's like, oh, you didn't understand this. This means that, and oh, you're alone. Go with them, and all of these things happen. You know, and then if you see that this was not realistic, you say, oh, okay, let's forget about the rest. You don't even tell students about the rest. You know, but online, you have many more challenges. So I would advise you to put down your pedagogical ambitions for the time being until your group is up and running, and it's going to take a month, I would say. Until then, if they learn a tiny bit something, this is fine. And then the fourth thing is that to give them achievable tasks and make sure they do them. So achievable, yeah, okay. Make sure they do them, which means that they send back to you some assignments they have been given, because if they don't, they are going to start thinking that maybe they are starting to be failing the class. It's natural. Normally, if you don't do the homework your teacher gives you, you will be fired from the class. You will fail the class. So it's not going to happen, because we are going to be tolerant. We are going to understand that there are many factors that might prevent them from doing the tasks. But if we don't react at all, no connection is going to happen. And maybe these 10 students out of 40, for example, will actually never really join your class. You know, they will be enrolled, but they will never come into the interaction of the class. So I think this is an important thing to keep in mind. Give them something to do from day one is best, and require them to do it. Find an easy way that they can send you back an assignment. That's probably the easiest way is through Moodle or Manaba, because it's all set up for that. There is an assignment function, and once you understood how to do it, it's no big deal. But you need to make them understand how to do it as well. Or you find a Google form or another an online form, whatever way works, fine. But get them to do something for you. I mean, for themselves, of course, and send it back to you. And be prepared to the fact that a certain fraction of your students will not do it, and have something ready in that case. And what should be ready in that case? It's an email. You should have an email or a message. If you have another way to send them messages than emails, that's fine. For students who don't hand in their assignments, telling them that you understand their situation might be difficult. It's no big deal. Don't worry. Everything is hard for everybody. But still, it's important that they do the homework they are given, because this is a class and you're their teacher. And the students, they are supposed to do their homework. So it's a fine balance between being firm and being kind. Your goal is to bring your students into the class. The other two documents that you need to have ready from the get-go, it seems to me, is, as I mentioned before, a document that introduces you. And don't forget to send it several times or have it as a PS or of your communications, because not everybody is going to see them the first time. And what I would recommend having ready as well is a form, an online form, to find out about their situation. You need to find out about their situation. The basic situation is, do you have a computer? Do you have Wi-Fi? And maybe do you live at your parents, or are you on your own? This is less important, but it allows you to have some kind of image of your group. If you want to ask them a few more questions, fine, because that would allow you to get a picture of your group. And then it might be good to have a translation of those messages. So some people are against Japanese, in the use of Japanese in a language class. But this is pre-language class, actually. This is like the basics of the basics. So I would recommend having a translation, your message in English and in Japanese. You can get translations by Google Translate if you don't have any other way. They work not bad. It's much better than nothing, in my opinion.
Excuse me, can I recommend DeepL, D-E-P-L? It's far superior to Google Translate.
Really? DEP?
And I put it in the comments, in the chat.
Okay.
And you can download an app to a Mac, maybe to Windows, and just Command C twice in a row, and it'll automatically copy the text you've selected and translate it. And it's a good translation.
Great, thank you.
So it's really
very helpful.
It's amazing.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I see we have only 10 minutes left, so I'm going to press forward. A few practical tips. Taking screenshots, that might save you a lot of time. I used to save pictures, give them a name, and then re-import them in my slides and stuff, and nowadays I take a screenshot of whatever is on my screen. I found how to do that on a Mac. It's Shift, Command, and 4 at the same time. And there is a similar procedure for Windows. And then you go to your desktop, and there you have what you want. You insert it in your Google slide, and you have saved the 1 minute. Multiply 1,000, it's a lot of minutes. Second one, searching for answers on the internet. I found that nowadays I type whole sentences, whole questions. For example, how do I use breakout rooms in Zoom? How do I use breakout rooms in Microsoft Teams? how do I unmute all participants' mics in Zoom, or these kind of things. And it's amazing, you find the answer to that precise question. Closing your tabs. If you have 20 tabs open on your browser, it's going to slow down your connection and your computer. So when you're going to start a live class, close all the tabs you don't need right now. It's a good idea. That's why also I like the Google Forms and the Google Slides and the Google Documents, because I can put all my resources in one place and then I can share this thing. Remember that YouTube has subtitles. So if you find a good tutorial for students, you want your students to learn a skill, and you find a great tutorial in English. They might not understand the tutorial, but it will be easier for them to understand it if you show them how to turn on the subtitles in YouTube. And that's an amazing function, really. So if it's a native English video, the English subtitles will be quite good. It's also possible to have automatic translations subtitles. Then the translation is less good, but it's still there. It's real time. It's amazing. We talked about translations already. Practical tips. If I were you, this is my desk. I'm at this desk right now. You don't need this, I guess, but this is great because it allows you, it's a box, carton box. It allows you to raise your computer a little bit, your laptop, so that you will be at a better, for the camera, your better level. And also you will, when you are working, you will be less like this. I learned recently that a human head weighs 5 kilos. So if your position is not good and you do that for 8 hours a day, you are going to have problems pretty soon. Then if you do that, you will need to have an outside keyboard and a mouse. It's super extra cheap. And the monitor is really cheap as well nowadays. 11,000 yen, you get monitor with a stand like this. Then you have 2 screens, you multiply your surface by 3, and you can copy and paste from one screen to another with the extended desktop. If you want a webcam, that might improve your sound and the visuals, but I think it's really optional. It's less important. Google Tools. If you have a Gmail account, I would recommend you create a Gmail account. On the top right corner of your Gmail window, you have an icon like this that looks like this. And when you click here, you have access to the drive. Let me show you here. This is the icon. I can access the drive. And this is my drive. It's organized like a computer, like a computer hard disk, basically. You can make folders and subfolders and subfolders. And Google Documents, let me show you one more step. When you are here, you can create folders, Google Docs, Google Slides, or Google Forms here. And Google Documents are a great work to share things with your students because you can share them. You see there is a URL at the top. You can copy this URL and you can paste it in Moodle or in an email or wherever, in line, wherever. And the key point is that you are going to, if you have the same type of classes several times, you can reuse this resource. And you can actually change it as you are teaching sometimes. You realize there is a mistake or this is not clear or whatever. You want to add a picture. Let me add a picture here, for example. Insert picture. Okay, this is what I inserted just before. The picture is right there. I can resize it. I can give it a border, etc., etc. I can trim it. anyway, your class resource is, you can share it easily and you can improve on it. It's going to get improved little by little. So you can keep it for the next class, for next year. You can link to other resources. You can do many things. I think this is a great way to save your energy. Rather than, as I said, to go and copy and paste everything in Moodle or in Blackboard, for example, just copy a link to your document. And then you should explore also the sharing settings as well. You want to, for example, if you want to distribute this to all your students without any hassle, you need to do advance and choose the setting that allows anybody with the link to read the document. All right. I think Google Documents are great for like the content of the class, and Google Slides. This is a Google slide. Same, I can share it. You know, this is a URL. I can duplicate slide. I can do lots of great things. This is great for projecting when you're doing a Zoom class, for example, or for screencasting as well. All right, let me just finish quickly. I will stop on the dot in 3 minutes. If you're using one of our textbooks, so Alma Publishing is a tiny company, publishing company. We are just 2 people full-time, kind of full-time, in Kyoto, and we sometimes struggle to keep in touch, send emails to the right people and everything. So if you do use one of our textbooks in your classes, please access this form that was sent in a few emails, and I'm going to send it in the chat. Cannot find it. Sorry. All right. Be careful. I see that I might have sent it. I'm sending this in the chat window of Zoom, so you can copy this link. This is the same way you can share any kind of Google Documents links to your students, by the way. Then you can access this slideshow on your own in your browser. All right. I'm going to put this recording. I chose automatic recording for this session, so it's going to be saved on my computer. I'm going to upload it to the Google Drive after that, and then I will send the link to this unedited video recording to you. And if it doesn't get to you, please contact me and I'll send you the link.
Thanks, Bruno.
Thank you, Jerry.
So Thank you so much.
We'll be back in 10 minutes.
Thank you. That was really useful.
Right, in 10 minutes, we're going to start our next session.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.